there! Thank you for taking the time to view this video. You're on your way to becoming a trained volunteer wrangler with Camp Casey, and we're so happy to have you. My name is Katie and I'll be taking you through our Volunteer Wrangler Manual. Before we get started, please make sure you have downloaded a copy and you have it to follow along. Please note that we will not be going through the entire training manual today. However, it is expected that you read it cover to cover in your own time. This training video is part of a multi-step process that will prepare you to provide safe and effective Horsey House Calls. In addition to viewing this video, you are required to submit a Wrangler application that can be found under the Volunteer tab of www.camp-casey.org. Attach a photo of your valid driver's license to your Wrangler application. There's an upload button at the bottom of the application. Read the Volunteer Wrangler Training Manual cover to cover. Pass a background check. There's no action required from you for this. Our volunteers are truly the backbone of our program, and without you, we wouldn't be able to help all of these amazing kids. By dedicating yourself to becoming a trained wrangler with Camp Casey, you will have several opportunities over the course of our programming season to help spread the healing power of horses to children in your community. Thank you for stepping up in such a big way. There are a few things to keep in mind before we get started. First, horse experience is not required. Actually, about half of the Horsey House Call volunteer assignments don't require you to even be near the horse. If you are horse savvy, please be sure to explain that on your application, as there is a brief evaluation required to verify your abilities. Second, a typical Horsey House Call lasts about 2 hours, and we ask that volunteers arrive well rested, dressed comfortably, and feeling healthy. You will be on your feet for the duration of the house call, and it's often quite warm outside. If you have a health condition that might prevent you from completing an entire Horsey House Call, please email programs@camp-casey.org directly for other ways you can help our organization. Third, you will be led by an equine therapist who is a specially trained member of Camp Casey's staff and is responsible for running the day. The equine therapist will be available on the day of the Horsey House Call to field any questions you may have. And finally, Camp Casey has a strict no smoking, no drinking, and no drugs policy. We require all of our volunteers to show up to the Horsey House Call without any indication of smoking, drinking, or intoxication of any kind. If you have any issues with these requirements or have questions, please contact the program director. Now, let's get started. As a volunteer, you'll be representing Camp Casey, and it is important that you feel comfortable speaking about our organization and the different services we provide, including those outside of Horsey House Calls. People often ask about our camper requirements. In order to qualify for Camp Casey's services, the family must have a child that is under 18 years old, who has been diagnosed with or treated for cancer, sickle cell disease, and/or aplastic anemia. Volunteers are welcome to nominate families for any of Camp Casey's services and are encouraged to spread the word about what we do. Another common question we hear is, where is your camp? Well, the short answer to that is that we're an entirely mobile program, so we're everywhere. We have an office for all of our day-to-day duties and administrative tasks, but our programming takes place all over. It is important that you understand Camp Casey's Code of Conduct and safety protocols, which can be found at the beginning of your manual. It is important to note that no Camp Casey volunteer or staff member is permitted to be alone with a Camp Casey participant at any time. You are expected to stay for the duration of the visit. However, should you need to leave early for any reason, you must notify your equine therapist in order to maintain the safety of the Horsey House Call. Camp Casey's Statement of Conduct. We are committed to creating and maintaining the safest possible environment for all participants. It is the duty of the Board of Directors, staff, and volunteers to safeguard the welfare of Camp Casey participants, adhere to Camp Casey's safety protocols, and prevent the physical, sexual, or emotional abuse of those with whom they come into contact. It is also important to understand our organization's social media policy. While we encourage volunteers to share Camp Casey's photos and post your pictures and volunteer t-shirts with pride, we ask that you do so before or after the visit. Please, leave your cell phones in the car. Personal photographs of our campers are prohibited. We also ask that no contact is made with our families through social media or otherwise after the visit. When working with horses, there are many inherent risks present. Our hero herd horses have been rigorously evaluated. However, it's important to remember that no horse is a safe horse and accidents can happen at any time. As a volunteer, it's your responsibility to keep your eyes, ears, and hands available and focused on the safety of the participants, horse, and your fellow volunteers. It's up to you to be aware of any potential hazards and to take action to prevent accidents. It is the responsibility of every member of Camp Casey's staff and volunteer team to make sure the Horsey House Call is executed as safely as possible. So, if you see something unsafe, say something. The equine therapist is a member of Camp Casey's staff that will be leading the day and helping guide volunteers. However, it is up to everyone present to make sure all tasks are performed to Camp Casey's high standards. To make sure our supplies last and to safeguard children with suppressed immune systems, it is crucial that volunteers keep the Horsey House Call bins organized, helmets sanitized, and supplies clean. This means cleaning up and storing everything as you found it, and making yourself available to help your fellow volunteers. At every Horsey House Call, there are 6 assigned volunteers, along with Camp Casey's equine therapist. Let's talk about how to get signed up to be one of those volunteers. Once you have completed the steps necessary to become a trained volunteer wrangler, you will be added to our email database and receive emails for all Horsey House Call volunteer opportunities. These emails are typically sent out 10 days prior to the day of the Horsey House Call. As a unique and highly sought-after program, it's common for us to hit the road frequently during our programming season. That means you may receive more than one volunteer email from us weekly. Please, don't unsubscribe. If you do, we don't have the ability to put you back on our email list, and you will no longer receive notice of volunteer opportunities. When a Horsey House Call volunteer opportunity suits your schedule and location, sign up fast. Spots fill up quickly and volunteers are selected on a first-come, first-served basis. Once you sign up to volunteer, you'll get an email from the program director letting you know whether or not there's a spot available for you. If you're one of the 6 assigned wranglers, the Horsey House Call's success depends on you. 2 to 3 days before the scheduled Horsey House Call, Camp Casey will send an email to the selected volunteers with all the information you need for the day. This is super important. Once you have been selected to volunteer with Camp Casey, you must respond to all email correspondence from the program director. Our team needs to know that you have all the proper details for the day. You should always assume that the Horsey House Call is taking place. In the case of inclement weather, you'll be contacted by the program director at an appropriate time to let you know whether or not the Horsey House Call has been canceled. If you are unable to fulfill your volunteer commitment for any reason, you must contact the program director immediately. It's also extremely important that you contact the program director if you're feeling ill on the day of the Horsey House Call. Your attendance is crucial, but so is the health of our campers, volunteers, and staff. Failure to alert Camp Casey of your volunteer absence creates a dangerous situation at the Horsey House Call and will result in permanent removal from Camp Casey's volunteer database. Please don't hesitate to contact us if you have further questions on how to get signed up to be a volunteer wrangler with Camp Casey. Remember, your handbook has more details and answers to frequently asked questions. Now, let's discuss the day of the visit. To sum up a typical Horsey House Call, we surprise the children of the house with a knock on their door and a full-sized horse, not a pony, right at their doorstep. We spend about 2 hours with the family, and the kids get to groom, make horse treats, create an art project, have a pizza party, and, of course, ride the horse around their neighborhood. Remember, this is all provided to the family at no cost. We accommodate up to 10 riders, including all the children of the household. We encourage the family to invite up to 30 adult guests to participate in the day and enjoy the pizza party. With a potentially large crowd, it's important to fully understand our safety protocols and not be afraid to remind others to follow the rules. It's important to be on time, and it's your responsibility to gather directions and consider any obstacles, such as construction, traffic delays, or otherwise, that might prevent you from arriving on time. We recommend planning to arrive at least 10 minutes early. When you arrive at the Horsey House Call location, look for the Camp Casey truck and park a few houses away. If you don't see the truck yet, simply park down the street from the house address. Once the equine therapist arrives with the horse, make your way over to the truck for a quick volunteer meeting where you will be introduced to your fellow volunteers and learn the necessary details for the day. Please consider the weather and dress appropriately. A Camp Casey t-shirt will be provided to you free of charge at your first Horsey House Call. You will be expected to wear it for the duration of the visit, and you can consider this t-shirt part of your volunteer uniform, as we ask that you wear it to each Horsey House Call. Additional t-shirts will be available at a small charge should you forget your shirt or want an extra one. There are also lots of fun styles of Camp Casey tees available for purchase on the merchandise tab of our website that can be worn instead of the t-shirt we provide. Please wear appropriate pants or shorts and comfortable tennis shoes or boots. Flip-flops are not permitted, but sunglasses are encouraged. There will be one equine therapist, one ranch hand, who serves as the equine therapist's assistant, and 6 volunteers at each Horsey House Call. Again, Camp Kesey expects every volunteer to show up well-rested and excited about the Horsey House Call day, no matter where you are assigned. In addition to the equine therapist and ranch hand, you will be one of 6 volunteers taking on one of the following roles. Horse leader. There will be one horse-savvy volunteer assigned to handle the horse. This volunteer is required to pass an assessment before being placed as a horse leader. The sidewalker. There will be 2 volunteers who walk alongside the horse and rider. No horse experience required, but you will be near the horse. The craft king or queen and top chef. There will be 2 volunteers assigned to facilitate crafts, make horse treats, serve pizza, and ultimately occupy participants as they wait their turn to ride. And finally, the photographer, who snaps photos of it all. Please refer to your manual for the full description of the different volunteer roles. It is important that you have an idea of what everybody's doing, should you need to chip in and help out. No matter what your assigned role, all volunteers are responsible for paying attention during the equine therapist's intro and grooming presentation, handing out camper t-shirts. Please ask parents to help children with their t-shirts. Encouraging hand sanitizer and sunscreen use. Again, please ask parents to help apply sunscreen. This is not your responsibility. Noting supply inventory. Setting up your station and being available to help others. Cleaning up your station and being available to help others. Make sure to clean all supplies thoroughly before returning them to their designated bins. Promptly collecting horse manure or notifying an available volunteer to clean up. The muck bucket and shovel can be located in the Camp Kesey trailer. It's important to keep children away from the trailer and the muck bucket, as it can pose a danger to immunosuppressed children. Now that you understand the sign-up process, arrival protocols, and volunteer roles, let's talk about setting up. After the volunteer meeting, you'll begin setting up for the day. You, along with the other volunteers, will be asked to carry bins, tables, and horse equipment to their respective stations. It cannot be stressed enough that the bins must be kept clean and organized. If you notice supplies are running low, please make a note of it or alert your equine therapist. The stations are divided into 4 groups: the riding and grooming station, the arts and crafts station, the horse treat cafe station, and the food and sanitation station. Each bin is appropriately labeled and should be taken to their respective locations. Your equine therapist will let you know the ideal location for each activity station, but they should be set up near each other and in the shade if it's possible. Here is a mock setup of the different activity stations so you can see what they should look like once they've been properly set up. The arts and crafts station will look like this. Please notice the painter palettes, primary color paint, plastic cups filled with water from the water bottle, paintbrushes, unwrapped picture frames, and frame stands. Also, please notice there's a garbage bag tied to the leg of the table. These garbage bags should be at every activity station. This bin will also contain sanitary wipes and paper towels for cleaning up paint and sticky fingers. Before you begin unloading your bin to set up your designated station, please take notice of how it's organized. The Horse Treat Cafe station should look like this. There's a mixing bowl, spatula, measuring cups, baking tray, horse treat ingredients, sanitary wipes, baby wipes, paper towel, and the horse treat recipe card. This horse treat recipe is not an exact science. If you have a lot of kids present, you may need to increase the quantity of the ingredients so that everybody gets a turn. The Horse Treat Cafe is our stickiest station, so it's extra important you take the time and care to thoroughly clean all supplies before storing them. Please note that the molasses bottle should be stored upright when returning it to its bin. This way, we hope to avoid any additional sticky messes. The food and sanitation station should look like this. It includes paper towels, paper plates, hand sanitizer, sunscreen, bug spray, first aid kit, sanitizing wipes, baby wipes, and a radio. The riding and grooming station will be located away from the activity stations and will look like this. We'll include the t-shirt bins, the horse saddle, saddle blanket, reins, small riding stirrups, a grooming kit, a helmet bin, 10 small buckets set up in the shape of a horseshoe, mounting block, and cones. Now that the setup is complete, the real fun can begin. Your equine therapist will let you know when it's showtime and ask that you go to your assigned station. It's important that only the equine therapist, horse leader, and photographer are present at the door for the surprise. By keeping all other volunteers at a safe distance from the horse, we avoid having too much congestion at the front door. Remember that your equine therapist is in charge of the day. Please keep your voices down and allow the equine therapist to engage the crowd. If you're confronted with any issues or questions, especially from the adult participants, it's important that you direct them to your equine therapist in charge. After the surprise, the equine therapist will ask participants to take a seat on an overturned bucket located at the riding station. The equine therapist might need your help encouraging the children to take their seats and pay attention. During the intro presentation, the equine therapist will welcome everyone by introducing him or herself, the hero herd horse, and each volunteer. It's important you remain quiet and pay attention to the intro talk. The equine therapist will also stress the importance of staying safe around the horse and ask the campers to refrain from running, screaming, walking behind the horse, and playing near the Camp Casey trailer. If you should notice any participant, including parents, ignoring the rules, please politely remind them. After the intro and grooming lesson is completed, all volunteers should report to their assigned stations. The equine therapist and ranch hand will collect participant waivers, fit helmets, and handle all horse-related activities for the day. If you are assigned as a horse leader or sidewalker, stay with your equine therapist and wait for direction. The day's craft king or queen and top chef are responsible for gathering all children and walking them to the craft station. The arts project and horse treats are a way to occupy the children while they wait for their turn to ride. The craft project kicks off the day and is followed by Horse Treat Cafe. Depending on the predicted size of the group, there might be more activities provided, such as a photo booth and props or sidewalk chalk. It's up to the assigned volunteers to assess how the timing of the day is going and how many children still need to ride in order to speed up or slow down the activities, but the goal is always to keep them fully engaged for the duration of the day. The pizza should be served near the activity stations, but there's no need to interrupt the kids if they're actively playing. They are free to eat at their leisure. Volunteers serving the pizza must use the plastic gloves included in the bin and encourage participants to use hand sanitizer before eating. Food service will require 2 volunteers, one to hand out pizza on a plate with a napkin, and the other to pour drinks. Encourage children to take a seat on their buckets to enjoy their pizza. At this point, the buckets are away from the horse as the riders will be mounting in a different area. Once all the children have had a turn riding, the equine therapist will conclude the day by gathering the crowd for a group photo. The photographer should be ready to engage the crowd by loudly asking for 3 poses. 1 smiling photo, 1 photo making the funniest face you've ever seen, 1 photo with the kids raising their arms and shouting, "Yee-haw!" After the group photos, the equine therapist will help the kids feed the treat to the horse, then wave goodbye as he or she gets loaded into the trailer. Please help the equine therapist by keeping the kids a safe distance from the trailer as the horse loads. Once the horse is loaded into the trailer, the equine therapist will facilitate goodbyes and the Horsey House Call has concluded for the participants. While the photos and horse treat feeding are taking place, all remaining volunteers are to assist with cleanup and storage. Please note that it's okay to clean up as you go and begin storing away anything that is no longer needed as the day goes on. Do keep the buckets out until the very end. Don't assume garbage can be put in with the families. If they offer to take it, that's fine, but the equine therapist will otherwise take all garbage bags to be disposed. Once all bins, tables, and supplies are put away in the exact way they were found, the equine therapist will dismiss all volunteers. Thank you for your time today. Please be sure to complete all the necessary paperwork, including your volunteer wrangler application and photo ID submission. It's incredibly important that you take the time to read the manual in its entirety. If you still have questions after reading the manual, please don't hesitate to contact a Camp Casey staff member. Thank you for stepping up to help kids conquer cancer, one nay at a time.